Hello, everyone. Just wanted to do another episode. This is the Father's Day Parenting Summit. This has three of the speakers, and so I'm super excited for you guys to hear it. And my co-host will be the main person that will be sharing with you guys and introducing some of our speakers. So definitely get ready, and we are going to get to hear the amazing Claudia Fountain. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Claudia Fountain, co-host for today's Father's Day Parenting Summit, brought to you by Authors Are Us and Learning Idiom. And Learning Idiom. Pardon me, I am driving, headed back from Little Rock. Learning Idiom, a virtual vocational academy. Our mission is to mend culture, language, and barriers by perfecting your English and Spanish. It is an honor to have all of these our special guests today. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is Sachi Ice Cream. In the professional role, I'm known as Ice Left Zildon. I got to meet our first speaker. I got to meet him when I did
There he is.
I did my professional headshots with him, and then he started telling me about his business about boats, and it's really, really interesting. I'll let him go into detail on that. And I'm a realtor for Pablo Banker, and so that's how I met Joel. And he's it's a good father whenever they start talking to you about their kids, and they just
absolutely,
that's how you know that they're a good dad.
Welcome, everybody. Yes. Well, I'm going to do the introduction real quick here. And I apologize. It is pouring rain, and I'm driving back from Little Rock, but I'm almost here. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Phillip Fletcher. He's an entrepreneur, community developer, founder of Error Maker, co-founder of cohost, a nonprofit, a very dear and near to my heart. Also, Hanoi Seed of Hope Outreach, which is co-host, and founder of Hope Village as well. He's an author, The Excellence of God, and he, among other books that he's published. He's a public speaker. He's also a Lego architect, by the way, and personalist, CrossFit bodybuilder as well. Renaissance man. Welcome, Dr. Phillip.
I think we have to raise him up to the stage, but in the meantime, I did want to give a shout out to Sunisa Davis for putting on the amazing fashion show that she put on yesterday.
That was fire! That was phenomenal. Yes,
it was a lot of fun.
The cause was for the gun violence. Yes, for violence actually in general. So yes.
Yeah, and I got to walk for the designer house of A&W.
Yes,
it was pretty cool to.
If you're
on Clubhouse, then you can see my profile picture is the robe that I got to wear, and it was pretty cool to just walk on the stage and everything. So it was a lot of fun. But today is about Father's Day. You know, we do these yearly. This is our second year doing Father's Day ones. We started out as just doing the Mother's Day, but we eventually started doing Father's Day ones too. And so Daniel Gomez, he wasn't able to join us live, but he will be sending over his portion of it. So I'm excited to hear from him.
Oh, wonderful. Another phenomenal dad.
Yeah, definitely great supporter of Learning Idiom as well. So definitely want to shout him out. But Joel, go ahead and you have the floor. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself. The people on Clubhouse can hear you, and it's recording, so we're gonna go ahead and have this on our Moving Mountains for You podcast, since Learning Idiom has two. But yeah, go ahead, reintroduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family as well as the Glory Boats.
Sure thing. Well, Isla, thanks for having me on this week as we look forward to Father's Day. The most meaningful title I've ever held in my life is that of father. Among all the professional ones and other personal ones, that's the greatest. And I've been living in Little Rock most all of my life. I'm an older guy now. My kids have both gotten married, and the first one's given me a grandchild. So her name is Tatiana, and we get to be with her a lot because they live here in Little Rock and make it easy for us to be grandparents. So we're very grateful that they have stayed this close to us. As you mentioned, we got a chance to talk when we were doing our pictures together the other day, and I'm real excited to be on your program. We have a little side hustle we call Glory Boats. We like to say it's the last boat ride a person could ever take. They're funeral caskets that look like fishing boats. And I came up with the idea out of an event in my father's life. Fortunately, it did not take his life, but he fell from a ladder while he was doing some work on an electrical job that he does. And I met him at the hospital and saw it through the x-rays hanging on the emergency room wall that he had a lot of broken ribs. And my previous job before I became a photographer was working as a pharmaceutical rep, and part of that was selling antibiotics to institutions like UAMS and other places. And I realized very quickly that if he were to catch a pneumonia in there, those bugs are fairly resistant to antibiotics, and he just might not come back out of it. And so I made him tell me what his funeral plans were, because I'm his only child, and he had not told me about any of those yet. It sort of impressed itself on me at that point that I needed to know that information. So we spent about 20 or so minutes talking about that. And at the end of it, I just sort of flipped a funny thing out to him, thinking he would laugh. And I told him, well, I might just bury you in your fishing boat if I had known all of this now. And I went home that night because I had the ability to. I thought, well, I'll look one up on the internet. I'm sure somebody makes a fishing boat casket, and I'll print a picture off and take to him tomorrow. What we discovered was nobody made a fishing boat casket. So we got to looking around and realized it would be a fairly easy thing to do with the help of some guys here in town who manufacture steel doors. So they make our parts for us. We weld them together. And if you have a second, go out and take a look at our website, gloryboats.com. You'll be able to see what those look like once they've been welded up, and we put the soft goods in and the tops on them.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting what you get to do. When you first told me about it, I was like, wow, I've never heard anybody do something like that. So that's why I was like, we need to get you on a podcast, because that's pretty unique what you do. And I think it's really, it's really inspirational what you get to do for these people that, just love fishing. And so definitely wanted to commend you for all you do for those families that, it's the last time that they're going to see their loved ones. So absolutely, to have that special moment.
Blessing to us when we hear back from those families, because virtually every one of them say about the same thing, that that's a very dark day in the life of a family when they're burying their father or their grandfather. And that when they used the boat, the people walked in and smiled immediately when they saw that he was in a boat. But then they also, just right after that, broke into the stories of trips they took to go fishing and hunting together. And so it just sort of turns into a highlight reel of Granddad's life. And it's sort of what the celebration of your life should be.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. I love it. We were just, when she told me about you, I was like, wow, talking about trend setting, And we have a mutual friend of ours who is an artist, and he's opened up one of the first Latino galleries here. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if he would have get hired to do his artistry, like caskets? So, but it's
Oh yeah, Isaac Helguera. Shout out.
yeah, Isaac Helguera. Shout out to Isaac Helguera. Yes, it's a bit of a morbid topic, but I, as a certified interpreter, I have to guide also families and interpret for their loved ones who passed. Everything from taking out a casket and interpreting like the whole funeral process. It's, and it's an honor and a privilege to be part of such a sorrow and in their lives. But again,
For the way
wow.
we feel about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate your time with us on a Sunday afternoon or evening.
Well, glad to do it. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, for sure. I finally got my headshots in, so if you guys are looking for any professional headshots, Joel's your guy. He's located in Little Rock, so
Oh wow, I need one. Put me on the list.
well,
Glad to do it.
yeah. So we also have, Dr. Phillip Fletcher with us, and he's gonna share a little bit with us. I'm gonna invite him so he can share with us what he has, but yeah, definitely check out Glory Boats and what they do. We'll leave how to reach him in the description, and then also since we are on Clubhouse, I'll go ahead and put the link in there as well, so you guys can check his stuff out.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, and happy Father's Day to you. Early Father's Day. A week from today.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day to you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Hey, Dr. Phillip Fletcher. He's a blessed husband, dad, pastor, nonprofit founder in 2007. By God's grace, Phillip also led us, planted the church Oakwood in 2009, co-founder, of course, of City Youth Hope Outreach, and is a proud father of 3 amazing children. So take it away, Doc.
What's going on, ladies? Thank you for the opportunity to talk about fathers. I know a question, overall topic was sent to me regarding how to be a father, be a parent in trying times. I think before getting there, about times, I think it's important to look at what the role of a father and a mother is. And, taking into consideration, in an ideal situation, a father and a mother are together, same household, in a relationship. And then, obviously children are produced. And then, ideally there's that opportunity for the father and the mother to work together to raise good human beings to send out into the world that Jordan Peterson talks about. You want to be able to send children out into the world that society will not have to control. So meaning the sons and daughters that we have, that once they leave the house, they're making decisions for themselves and contributing to society in such a way that is improving society and not being a burden on society. So in an ideal situation, there's a mom and dad in the same house. It's more of a reality nowadays that there's single parenthood, more so on the mother than it is on the father statistically. But either way, now you have a situation where if the mother and the father are not in the same house, how does a father, how is he actively involved in parenting his children? Because he still has that responsibility. I actually spoke on a panel, or led a panel yesterday about fatherhood. And one of the things I said to the room and to the men, and I said, you can stop being a husband, either through death or through divorce. You can stop being a boyfriend, but what you will not ever stop being is a father. Even if there's a quote unquote legal surrendering of rights, the fact of the matter is you, along with a woman, y'all produced a child, and you will forever be that child's father. So from my vantage point, a male who has children, he will forever have that responsibility and will be held accountable to that responsibility, regardless if he's in that child's life or not. So the role of a father, whether it's in a two-parent household or one-parent household where there's co-parenting, that father has a responsibility to share knowledge, to share wisdom, to create opportunities for the child at age appropriateness to be able to succeed, but then also be able to fail so that his son or daughter can learn about life. They can learn about what it is to make good decisions and bad decisions. They can learn about consequences. And then that father should, in a healthy way, sit down with his or her son or daughter and be like, hey, what did you learn? What was good about that? What was hard about that? What did you ultimately learn about yourself? And so that's, a father being active in the life of a son or a daughter. The other thing is that a father has to understand his child. So a father could have two sons, but that father can't treat those two sons the same, if that makes sense. They're equal in terms of relationship, that's their father. But in terms of treatment, it's going to be radically different because each one of those boys are going to be different. In the same fashion, if the son has two daughters, those daughters are going to be treated differently because whether there's two sons or two daughters or a son or a daughter, each one has their own personality. Each one has their own temperament. Each one has things they like and don't like. They have ways to communicate. And so the father now has to also understand individually his sons and who they are individually, his daughters, who they are individually. And here's the other thing, and this may be a little controversial, but I stand by it. A father raises a son differently than he raises a daughter. What I mean is that a father should raise his son in such a way that he learns what it is to be a protector, what it means to be a provider, but then also what it means to, at some point, carry on his name into the next generation. So I'm speaking about legacy. And so when the father is sitting with his son, there are going to be those things that are offered to his son that is going to be in degree differently than what is offered to the daughter. Now, can the father also teach the son about what it means to care and nurture? Yes. The father needs to teach and share with the son what it means to be affectionate and be tender and to be sensitive when the time is appropriate. But then also that father needs to show the son, when is time where you need to assert dominance to protect those that you love, but assert that dominance in such a way that is motivated by love and not by control or abuse or manipulation, but in such a way that that son understands that I have a responsibility of protection, of provision, and guarding my own family at the appropriate time. Now, for a daughter, I think the father should present to his daughter or daughters the man that they should be looking for at the appropriate time. And so that father now needs to demonstrate tenderness. That father needs to demonstrate what it means to care for his daughter and a woman in such a way that doesn't bring any type of physical or emotional or spiritual type harm to that daughter, so that that daughter, when she gets to the appropriate age, when she is seeking to respond to the quote unquote advances of a man, she can be like, yes, no, and be able to have those boundaries in place because of what hopefully was demonstrated by her father. But also she needs to see that in her father, he is one who's going to protect her, who is willing to offer his very life for her. She needs to see a father that is willing to, and I did this for my daughters, will date his daughters. He will take his daughters out. Commonly those are called daddy-daughter dates. You will pick your daughter up. You will give your daughter a flower or some flowers. You will take her to eat, have conversation. I'm more of old school, open doors for the daughter. Walk on the appropriate side of the street with your daughter so that she sees this is how I'm supposed to be treated as a woman, and how a man should treat me as obviously as an equal human being, but then also my father is showing me, and then one day I should see in a man an individual who is willing to go the lengths to support my own physical, emotional, spiritual, professional well-being. So, so fathers have an active role. They should be present. If a father has multiple children, one way they approach sons is going to be different than how they approach daughters. But then also I would say this, especially again, circling back around to what's becoming more common of single parenthood, that father needs to be proactive and take the steps to make sure that he is actively engaged with his children, especially if the mother is the primary caretaker. And that father needs to continually to realize that while those children may not be primarily in his home, those are still his primary responsibilities. And so just like the mother has to take steps to make adjustments in terms of her own leisure time, professional time, to make sure the kids are taken care of, and, education and extracurricular activities and the like, that father needs to keep the same thing in mind. Because again, just because you don't live there as a father and the relationship between the father and the mother is not whole, your relationship with the children is still there. Again, like I said, you may not be the boyfriend anymore, but what you're not going to stop being is the father. And just because there's a loss of that relationship between mother and father, that relationship between father and children needs to continue, and that father needs to man up, have a freaking spine, and have maturity to work with the mother so that the children are seeing, again, the proper role of the mother in their life, but also the proper role of a father in their lives.
No,
That's my 2 minutes. That's my
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Wow. That again, our as parents, we want to make sure, like you were saying in regards to George Patterson, that we've unequivocally raised our children to the best of our ability with the education, the love, the nurture, the praising the Lord, everything, be good to thy neighbor. And yet they're after 18 or, and they're out in the real world, it's not so. They're not being held accountable for themselves. They're not being as productive, some of them, but again, it's the world that I was raised in compared to now. I can argue it's not the same, obviously. And not only did my mother and my father raised me, but I had extended families who raised me. Even my neighbor helped to raise me, to live again in that time. So, but definitely, thank you so much, Dr. Phillip Fletcher. Amazing input in here that we're going to take it and run with it and share it with everybody. A quick fun fact. Father's Day was celebrated on June the 19th, 1910 by Sonora Smart Dodge. She actually started this Father's Day. She's from Washington, as a way to celebrate her own father, who was a Civil War veteran and who was actually a widowed. He himself, as a single father, raised 6 children successfully. So anyway, fun fact. But again, I slept. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's amazing that, you can at the same time as like challenge all, new fathers, existing fathers, and, fathers to be the best that they can. And I also do want to take a moment for all of the single moms, because they are a mother and a father. I was raised by a single mom, so during, Father's Days and everything, we always, give her another present, because she did the job of the father and the mother for us. And so definitely wanted to take a moment to shout out all those single moms that are, working hard and being, the best that they can for their kids. So, but yeah, definitely wanted to thank, Dr. Phillip Fletcher for taking your time. I know with all the organizations that you're a part of, your time is always very important.
Valuable.
So, very valuable. So definitely wanted to thank you for that. And I'll be looking forward to talking about Hope Village. I see Tara down there. Hello, Tara. Hello.
Hello, Tara. Yes. I was going to say in 2021, there were around 15.62 million families with a female household and no spouse present in the United States. 15.62 million. Okay. That I can't. I mean, I was a single mom there for a minute myself, but I just don't. My kids were already older, but I can't. My brain just kind of like, man, how hard is this? And then, with this time that we're living in, these hard times that we're living in right now. But yes, so 62% of the new moms in their 20s are unmarried. And the report also found out, this is again statistics. It's a safe harbor, by the way, reference, that the report also found that 36% of the moms were unwed, 31% of these younger women, and that just keeps going up. So we got to, like Dr. Phillip Fletcher says, to man up, whether you're co-parenting and let your own feelings aside and think of the main objective is to produce and raise productive human beings on this planet. Yep. Okay. So
Yeah, for sure. I think I put his book in while he was speaking.
yeah, the angst and hope, protest, pandemic, and politics. Yes. Where can we find your book, Doc? On Amazon?
Yeah, you can go to Amazon and you can make a purchase.
Yeah, if you're on Clubhouse and you're watching the replay,
Yes.
it's pinged up there. And we'll also share his information. I'm going to put the coho link as well, so you guys can definitely connect with him and the nonprofit and everything that they do. We do have another speaker. He's right here next to me, so you won't be able to see his little, he's not on Clubhouse yet, but he did say that he was going to be on Clubhouse one day. So we have the Monarch of Fire. He's been on a few episodes before. And so he definitely wanted to share about fatherhood and, so go ahead and introduce yourself and, tell us your little father story and your grandfather and all that. So.
I'm the Monarch of Fire. Honestly, growing up was rather rough. I didn't have my real father there like a lot of people that I knew. And so growing up without that figure for so long was very hard and mentally straining. And that is until my mom remarried. When my mom remarried, she married my stepdad, Robert. We called him Robbie for short. He was a very, very big inspiration to me coming into being a young man and learning what it's like to be a man. I lost my grandfather at a very young age, and that was rather hard because I thought everything of this man, and even to this day, I still do. I just celebrated 22 years of him being gone on May 1st. And so this holiday really touches home for me because I do have very certain men in my life currently that taught me, what it is to be a man and they prepared me to be a father. And so when I took that responsibility on, everything that they were teaching me made so much sense. Everything became clear. I really give all my love and dedication to those men. I wouldn't be half the man I am today if it wasn't for them. But I won't lie, as a younger man, I do have moments of confusion because slowly these men that I've had in my life let's just be honest, they know they're getting older or they've already passed. No disrespect to my real father, don't get me wrong. I talked to him today. Our relationship is a little difficult. I mean, we are trying to work on that. But my advice that I would give to any father out there is don't give up just because your real dad isn't there. You don't have to be blood to be a father. I took on being a step parent pretty much. And I'll tell you, it's just as rewarding. He may not call me dad, and that's not what I want him to do either. I don't want him to ever think that I would ever try to replace his father. But my goal is to let him know that I am here to love him, to protect him, to mentor him, to teach him. And that's the greatest gift you can give as a father, is to say that I've done what I've needed to do and I've set my child up. My child will know what to do. They'll always have that sense of guidance and protection. I've always grown up with the mentality of there's the love of the mother and the power of the father, especially when it comes to parenting young boys or young men. Don't get me wrong, I'm a mama's boy by heart. I love my mother because for the longest time she raised me and my brother up practically by herself. And so she's a very, very strong woman, very independent. But when Robbie came into my life, I learned to have a better sense of respect, of discipline. I learned how to be a better man. And, he would always tell me, hey, this is how you should be. A real man humbles himself and holds himself so high and always tries to beat that standard bar, always trying to do better. And, just honestly, if anybody who ever sees this or reads this, here in Clubhouse, if you ever need to drop a dime and you just need to talk, maybe you're lost or you don't know where you're going or what you're doing, don't be afraid to ask, because there have been times where I've even asked his mother, hey, what do you think about this? Or how do you feel about this? Because you're not gifted to know every answer. As a father, you know only but so much. And I believe that as parents, you're always learning something. You may get to know your child and know their habits or whatever may have you, but you will never fully comprehend what all is going on. Believe me, I've tried, and it kind of blew up on me. But Father's Day means a lot to me because I have a lot of men in my life that I'm super grateful for. I call them more than just for Father's Day. Shoot, I call a lot of them all the time and tell them that I love them. I'm so appreciative of them. I couldn't even begin to tell you how thankful I am. It's just, I'd be lost. If I didn't have these men in my life to guide me, I honestly wouldn't have known what to do. And don't get me wrong, I'm still learning, and there's nothing wrong with still learning or still having the will to learn more. But I think that fathers deserve a lot of credit because God built us in the hands of strength. And, we deal with different issues, as compared to the mothers. Mothers are natural born to parent. It's just how most women are, very a loving and nurturing nature. And so a child always wants to cling to their mother. Whereas a father, we're a little bit more disciplined and I would say a little bit more I don't like using the word grouchy, but more or less strict. I mean, I grew up in a military family, and so, you know, you always said, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, you know, and even, you know, back then that was just more or less just decency and respect for, you know, your parents and your elders. But if there's one thing that I could give out to all the young fathers out there, it's don't give up. Keep pushing, keep trying. Let God handle the heavy work. Let Him take off the burden and the stress and open your eyes so you can see clear. Because whereas my stepfather made a difference in my life, I feel like I'm making a difference in this young boy's life. He may not express it, but I see how he clings towards me and how he feels protected by me, how he feels loved by me. When I first met this boy, you know, he was very shy of me, very scared of me. Now this boy comes out there and he just says some of the most off the wall stuff you've ever heard of. Because at first he was very reluctant to talk to me, but I prayed to God and I just asked him, God, you know, show me the way, show me how I need to get through to him. You know, what can I do? And God provided me answers. You know, you're not doing it alone. You've got an extra hand on your shoulder that's trying to guide you as you guide the younger boy. But, you know, I want to say I appreciate all the fathers that are listening. I want to appreciate all the mothers who are listening, because you can't do one without the other. I mean, you can, but it just makes it so much harder. It does, because I watched my mother struggle before she met my stepdad. And let me tell you, that woman is the strongest woman that I've ever come to know in my life. And with her and my stepdad together, it was like fire and ice, pretty much. They just worked together. And, you know, the only thing that I can say that I regret the most is my actions that I portrayed growing up. Because at first I was very ruthless, kind of hell-bent on not liking this guy. But I tried so hard not to like him and to love him and see what good he did for my mother and for me and my siblings, that I turned around and I come to love him more than anybody else in my life. And that's where it became clear that you don't have to be blood to be someone's mother or someone's father. And at that point, when it dawned on me, you know, it made the difference in my life. Like I said, I still loved my real father, would never change it. But it was because of my stepfather that I learned how to be better. So I'm going to wrap this over and give this back to Miss Sachi. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to listen today. Happy early Father's Day to any fathers who are out there listening. Doctor, I appreciate hearing what you had to say. That was very inspirational. I couldn't have said anything better myself. I really appreciate what you do as a father. And also, just as a side note, please remember that the month of June is Men's Mental Health Awareness too. You know, that's something I will be talking about on my next podcast here, hopefully this next week, in talking about suicide prevention and mental health awareness amongst men. maybe discussing a little bit about some of the problems we face as men. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen, and I'm going to give this back now.
Great job. Thank you so much. Yay. That was,
Hello,
great
Ashley.
information. Thank you so much. He did amazing, Sachi.
Yeah.
We need to wrap it up. It's been 40 minutes. Sorry.
I know. Yeah. So for anybody that's just popped in, yeah, we're talking about fathers. Next week is Father's Day, so we are going to close the room, and you can definitely listen to the replay. And this was brought to you by Authors Are Us and Learning Idiom. Learning Idiom is a nonprofit organization where we break language barriers and culture barriers by perfecting people's English and Spanish. And Authors Are Us, we help people get published on Amazon and Google Books, and we're the first bilingual publishing company here in the state of Arkansas. So definitely reach out to us. And again, want to thank all of the people that took their time to share with us, and all of our sponsors as well. Daniel Gomez will be reaching out to us as well. So
Millionaire Minds.
yes, Millionaire Boot Camp.
I think Dr. Phillip Fletcher needs to write his book. We need to help him write his book in Espanol.
I know. Tienen que escuchar su voz.
Anyway, happy Father's Day
Right,
and
yeah.
Mother's Day every day.
Yes. So thank you so much for being part of our community. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of the month, and we will be on here shortly again.
Thanks
So,
for the opportunity.
Thank
all right.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you to all our guests. God bless each and every one of you.
Yes. Bye, everyone.